Hi everyone, it's Miss Billingsley again. Today we're going to talk about surface area of solids. So on Tuesday we learned about volume of solids. You've been practicing that over the last few days. And today we're going to talk about surface area. So surface area is the area of outside of a 3D shape. So all of the outside pieces added together is essentially what we're doing. One way to do it is to add up all of those outside pieces one by one, but there is a formula that works and it's a little bit complicated. So I'm going to break it down for you shape by shape. So again, if you have a printer, you might want to pause the video, go print this out so you can follow along with me. If not, just write the formulas in your notebook. You can even add it to the sketches that you did on Tuesday and just call it surface area this time. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about our formula first real quick. So right here, we have the surface area of prisms formula. Two things we need to clarify before we get started. P stands for perimeter. Okay, so perimeter is the distance around the base. So perimeter of the base. Okay. And then just like last time, B is area of the base. Okay, those are the two things that don't immediately make sense. We wouldn't look at B and say, oh, that's area for sure. P, you might think of perimeter, and then H is the height, of course. So let's jump right in. I'm going to be giving you the specific formulas to use, and then I'm also going to be labeling the prisms as we go, just like before. So first, let's take a look at rectangular prism. I know it's rectangular because it is has a rectangular base. There's two rectangles that are the exact same size and are vertical to each other. Okay, so the surface area of a rectangular prism, we're going to take the perimeter. So perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, and length and width are here. And then we're going to multiply that by the height of our prism, which is this vertical height here. Okay, and then we're going to add on the two bases. So add on the two base areas. So we're going to do 2 times the length times width, because that is the area of a rectangle. So this one is a bit more complicated than volume because there's more pieces to it. Essentially what we're doing is finding the area of each of the sides. So this is actually a 6-sided shape. There's the 4 around the outside and then our 2 bases. So this gives us all 6 sides all in one formula. So it's a little bit of a shortcut, although it seems a bit long. Okay, let's take a look at a cube next. So a cube has 4 sides that are all the same. So I'm going to call that S for side. Remember that the height is also the same size as the base sides. Okay, so we actually have 3 sides or 3 dimensions that are all the same. So here for surface area, we are going to take 4 times the side because that's our perimeter. If we add up all the sides, side plus side plus side plus side, and then multiply that by the height times H. And then we're going to add 2 bases. So 2 times the base area. The base area is side squared. Okay, so that's going to give us the surface area of a cube. This only works if all of the sides are the same size. Okie doke. Next, let's look at a triangular prism. It can be right triangular or not. This will work. So surface area. Again, finding the perimeter of our base. So for a triangle, to find the perimeter, we need to add up all the sides. So side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. Okay, whether it's a right triangle, whether it's equilateral or not, this will work. Okay, and then we're multiplying that by the height. And then we're going to add the base shape. So 2 times, and then, okay, let's label over here. So this is my side 1, side 2, and side 3 is my hypotenuse. The height of this prism is actually here, laying down. Okay, so that's going to be my H. And then over here, I'm doing length times width divided by 2. And the way I've labeled it, that's going to be side 1 plus side 2 divided by 2. We want to use the vertical and the horizontal sides. We don't want to use the hypotenuse to find the area. And then, of course, we cut that in half since it's a triangle. Okie doke. Last prism we're going to look at is a cylinder. little bit weird. Circles always weird things up. So we are going to take 2 pi r, that's the perimeter of my circle, or otherwise known as the circumference. 2 pi r times the height, and then we're going to add on 2 circle bases. So finding the area of the base is pi r squared. So here we need the height and the radius, and we can find the surface area. Okie doke. So those are all of the prism formulas. Obviously there are many more prisms, but we're going to be sticking to these main 4. And next we're going to take a look at pyramids. So pyramids are a little bit different, actually probably a little bit weird. As you can see, there's this L in the formula. I make it a cursive L so that it doesn't just look like a straight line. So what L stands for is the slant height. In the last video, I labeled slant height, and I'll go ahead and do that again here. This is going to be our slant height, and I always label it with a cursive L. For whatever reason, that is the worldwide symbol for slant height. So again, perimeter of our base times the slant height, and then plus the area of the base for a pyramid. Because it's not column shaped, they all meet at this vertex here up top. So for a square or rectangular pyramid, we're going to find the surface area by taking a half times the perimeter, which a square or rectangle would be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, that works for rectangles and squares. And then we're going to multiply by the slant height. Okay, not this middle height. We don't use this at all in our surface area formula, just for volume. So we're finding the slant height, and then we're going to add on the base area, which is, let me scoot this over a little, plus length times width. Okay, that's the area of a square or a rectangle. Okay, that one's pretty long, so let's take a minute and write that down. Alrighty, we're going to look at triangular pyramids next. So the surface area of a triangular pyramid, we're going to take a half times the perimeter of the base, which is going to be our 3 sides added. This one, they're all the same, but I'm going to go ahead and label them as different sides in case we don't have an equilateral triangle. So we're going to take side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. Multiply that by the slant height, and then add the base area. Again, I wrote too big, so let's scoot this over. There's my cheat sheet poking out. Okay, and the area of a triangle is going to be the height of that triangle. Let's call that length. Nope, let's not use L again. Let's call that base times height divided by 2. Okay, and remember, just like last time, the height of a triangle is always from the highest point down, straight down with a little right angle, and then the base would be side 1. This would be our base for this example. Okie doke. Last but not least, let's take a look at a cone. Again, we need the slant height, not the vertical height this time. We need the slant height. That is what we call L. We're going to take a half times the perimeter of the base, which is 2 pi r, otherwise known as circumference, and then times our slant height, and we're going to add the area of the base, which is pi r squared. So again, we need the radius and the slant height for this one. Okay, I promise this time I did not mess up the sphere like last time. So 4 times pi r squared. All we need is a radius. Okay, those are all the formulas. Let's take a second and pause and write down anything that we missed. We're going to take a look at a couple examples here in just a sec. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. Our formulas are down here for us so that we can not have to flip back and forth. So first I'm going to start with the prism on the left. So we have a triangular prism. I can tell because the two parallel bases are triangles, okay? And we're given, it looks like the hypotenuse as well as the base and the height and the depth of this thing. So lots of things going on here. Let's find its surface area. So first we need to find the perimeter of the base. Now remember we said the base was the triangle. Even though it's setting on a rectangle, this is a triangular shape. So we're going to find the perimeter of it. So the perimeter of this is going to be the 10 for my hypotenuse plus the 6. And then this height is going to be the same as this one here, 8. Okay, so that is my perimeter. Then I'm going to multiply that by the height, which is 7. This one's actually my height here. This is just kind of laying down on its side so that we can see that it's triangular. And then the last thing we need to do is add 2 bases. So 2 times the base area, which area of a triangle is going to be half times the length and the width of the triangle. So we don't actually need our hypotenuse here. Here I'm going to do 6 times 8 and then divide it by 2. Okay, let's type that in our calculator and see what we get. Okay, I entered it all at once in my calculator and I got 216 feet squared. Notice that the unit here were feet. We're finding area, so this time our answers are going to be squared. So here my answer is 216 feet squared. Volume is cubed. Area is squared. Okay, let's wrap this up and take a look at a pyramid example. Surface area of a pyramid is a little bit different than a prism. We're going to take a half times the perimeter. So first, let's find our base shape. It is setting on another triangle, okay? So it's not labeled, but I know that this triangle is equilateral. So each of these lengths are 12. Okay, so we're going to add 3 12s together. Side plus side plus side. And then multiply by my slant height. Sometimes this is given, like here, this is going to be my slant height. Sometimes it's not, and we can use Pythagorean theorem to find it. So here we're going to multiply by 9 and then add our base area. So remember, for an equilateral triangle, we need to find that height, or sometimes it's given. Here it is given. So I'm going to use this 10.4 for my height and then multiply that by the base. So 12 times 10.4. Okay, 1/2 times 12 plus 12 plus 12 times 9, and then add 12 times 10 plus 4. Let's see what we get. Okay, a little bit of a decimal here, so I got 286.8. My units are feet, and we found area, so I'm going to square that. So the surface area of this pyramid is 286.8 feet squared. Awesome. Okay, again, I'll scroll back up in case you missed those formulas, and yeah, let us know if you have any questions.